I played Genshin Impact for like the last 2 years, so let's watch this video and talk about it.
I just spent my life savings on this game. 16 grand in 7 months. Get help.
That's not even that much that they spent. Tectone spent like 100 grand on that game.
It's not the game. It's your problems.
Hold
on.
Okay, I mean, I have so much to say about this. Genshin Impact straight up pushes you to spend money on that game. Most of the actual challenging content in that game is really heavily balanced towards you having a bunch of characters who are at their absolute highest constellation level with the best gear that you can get for them, and that necessitates you spending a whole bunch of money to get that character over and over and over again. And when that character is a super super high level 5-star, you are just going to have to put in an unbelievable amount of effort into that. Or, I mean, there is no way that you can put that much effort in unless you wait for every single new pull that comes through. Or they want you to spend a ton of money on it. I've spent maybe $200 on Genshin. This is my name's Cole, and I've spent $200 on Genshin Impact. This game is brutal, and the majority of people who play this game are young people who are easily taken advantage of. And it hurts me deep inside to think of all the kids who ask for in-game currencies for their Christmases or their birthdays or whatever, and then they go and they spend all that money within the first hour of them having it, and then they have nothing from that Christmas to show for it. It's such... They are being taken advantage of by companies that know exactly what they're doing.
Is this some kind of joke? Just
spending
spend
money.
money. You happy?
I don't know.
Growing up, I never had to worry about overspending on video games because back then, when you bought a game for full price, you'd have access to the whole experience.
Yeah, and Final Fantasy X was so good, dude. I played Final Fantasy VII, was my first Final Fantasy game, although I had seen someone playing Final Fantasy IV and Final Fantasy VI before. But Final Fantasy VII was the first one that I actually got a hold of. And I got a hold of it because I had started playing Kingdom Hearts, and I like Cloud and Kingdom Hearts, so I started playing Final Fantasy VII. I beat Final Fantasy VII, and then my friend Jacob had Final Fantasy X for the PlayStation 2, and I had never played that one. And he had gotten stuck at this one boss, and he said, I don't want to play this game anymore. You can have this for as long as you want to. And I still have that copy of that game. And I played Final Fantasy X, and I got to the same boss that he got stuck at, and I got stuck at it too. It's... when you're on the beach and they're trying to use all the machina to fight Sin, and then you have to fight the big scorpion that has the claws that it shields itself with. And I was stuck there forever. And what I finally did was just go back and grind Lulu up to the point that she had her 3rd level magics or whatever. And then I just blasted the hell out of it and made it through the rest of that game by just grinding my characters out. It was my favorite Final Fantasy experience for a very long time.
Even things like microtransactions.
Final Fantasy X might still be my favorite Final Fantasy game. I often said that Final Fantasy 15 should be the first one that people play who haven't ever played a Final Fantasy game, and that's just because it's quick, the storyline is decently compelling, and the gameplay is pretty fun. Plus, I just like the hanging out with the bros kind of feeling. But Final Fantasy X is probably still my favorite Final Fantasy game.
Weren't even required to unlock content. But with the ever-rising popularity of games like Genshin Impact, kids today are more vulnerable than ever to overspending.
Yeah.
And also online drama.
And adults are vulnerable to overspending. Now, once you get to be an adult, I sort of don't have as much feelings about it because adults can do literally whatever they want to do. But I don't think Genshin Impact is a very good game. It's okay. It's like a 6 out of 10 game. It sort of reminds me of modern day Kingdom Hearts, but it has no content that's really enthralling or challenging to me. You can beat everything in it by just having better characters. Once I got Nuvolette in that game, it just completely became this, how do I get better gear to up my numbers so that I can beat this thing without really trying at it? And I don't like games that do that. I don't like that there's no high-level group content. There's no reason to have a bunch of other people playing with you. I don't like that you could only have 2 characters, and then your party member or your person who's playing with you, your friend who's playing with you, gets 2 characters, or everyone gets 1 character if you have 3 people playing with you. I think everyone should have full parties, and I think the game should be built around, or at least late-game content should be built around the idea of having full parties of 4 people with 4 characters each. I think that would be a lot cooler. filler, and I think that most of the game is just kind of boring, honestly. I like going around and finding treasure chests, but the rewards for doing it, the primo gems that you get from doing that kind of stuff, are so slow to grind out. You have to live in Genshin Impact in order to get, oh man, just one of the 5-star characters that come around. I've lost almost every single 50-50 pull that I've ever done, and I only get characters on my guaranteed. So if I don't have a 50-50 pull and there's a character coming up that I want, then I have to work really hard to get through enough primo gems so that I can not only make my 50-50 but then make my guaranteed as well. It sucks. I don't like it.
For some reason. With each new limited character release, you don't just want them.
And I get that people like the characters. I get that. I get that we are super susceptible to marketing, and I get that you're all super weebish and you all love these anime characters, and that's totally fine. You do whatever you want, home. You do whatever you want. You enjoy the games that you want to play. Just because I'm saying that I don't like it doesn't mean that you shouldn't enjoy it. There might be things about it that you do enjoy, but I think that most of it is just character design. That's why people like this game, because the characters look cool. The amount of people simping for these characters is so real.
You're instead made to feel like you need that character. And it's easy.
Well, the people online make you feel like you need that character too. I mean, think about the way that Kazuha is talked about by everybody. Oh yeah, well I have a C6 Kazuha, so it's really easy for me to finish the Abyss, no problem. Or oh, if you get Venti up to C3, then everything up until the last couple stages of the Abyss are really really easy because you can just beat everything with your eyes closed.
Easy to fall into the trap of overspending, especially when you're faced with enticing deals and limited time durations.
And so if you feel like that you're not going to get this character unless you spend money, and it will be months before this character comes back around, and you've seen all these people talking about how this is your opportunity to get one of the best characters in the game, then you're going to spend that money on it. But what happens is you spend a whole bunch of money to unlock an extremely large grind to get good gear for those characters that can take you equally as long if you don't spend money to re-up your, what are they called? Resins or whatever over and over again so that you can continue to grind these dungeons. And the dungeons are unbelievably mind-numbingly simple. There is no difficulty in doing this dungeon, which is literally just one room that enemies spawn into, and you just nuke them, and then you wait for the next wave to spawn, and then you nuke that, and it's just... And then you have to roll the dice on what gear you get. And so often, this is a MapleStory thing, and I swear that they do it in Genshin too, where the chances of you getting a piece of gear that is made for a DPS character that increases defense or HP, I guarantee you is higher. If it's not, I will eat my hat on this one, because that happens all the time. The Marchus Hunter set, why does it need to have defense or HP drop percents on it? It doesn't need to have that, period. Give me the thing. It already takes me a long time to get a high-level piece of gear from there. Make it be good. It's not even an MMO. What does it matter if I have good gear? I spent the money on the character, dude.
So how exactly do so many people fall into it? Well, for starters, it has a lot to do with the game's initialization period. The appeal of typical gacha games is the thrill of pulling exciting and powerful characters.
Yeah.
But with Genshin Impact, you're overwhelmed with a load of content to get you hooked from the start of the game. You fight an unknown god, you fight a dragon, you even fight your own sister. Oh, did I also mention you have a massive region to explore as well?
Yeah.
So that when you actually become hooked into the game, you're given a generous amount of wishes to learn how the system works. And once you get your first 5-star character, well, that's basically the end of it.
Yeah.
Now,
the game has two phases where you're playing with the characters they've given you, and then a couple of 4 stars that you've gotten along the way, and then you get your first 5-star character, which for me that was Nuvalet, and then the game is completely different. You realize that all of the difficult things that you've been dealing with up to this point are not actually difficult things. They are there so that you spend money on the game, because 5-star characters are broken. It's not even worth leveling up your 4 stars most of the time, except for support and to use for. But all of the main DPS, all of the best healers, all the best shield characters. You want Zhongli, you want Nuvalet, you want Kazuha, you want what's her name, Ice Girl. You want all these characters. They're the best ones. Get them, and then the game is easy.
Granted, the goal of the initialization period isn't to make you spend money right away. It's instead to normalize the
This
game's
one
core
sucks.
gambling mechanic, so when the rewards are gradually reduced in the late game,
I can't
you'll
remember
be
what her
more
name
open
is.
to the idea of
She
spending
sucks.
money trying to...
And if you pull in the normal banner, I guarantee you your first 5-star character that you pull. Actually, I'm wrong. Sorry, my first 5-star character wasn't Nouvellette. My first 5-star character was Chi-Chi, and that made me so angry. She's worthless. That it's crazy the amount of times that you get Chi-Chi in this game. Stop giving me Chi-Chi.
get the next 5-star character. And MiHoYo
Get them
will
out or
tempt you
rework
into
them.
spending as much money as possible, whether that's in-game, by email, on the App Store,
Yeah.
through influencers. You will know who the next character is, and you will want to pull for them.
Yes.
Well, hold on. I only buy Welcome because it makes sure that I don't overspend, even if I do want that character.
It's a sub-service.
Wrong.
For a lot of players, Welcome will be the first purchase they make
Yep.
in the game, and it's easily the most predatory thing you can buy in the store. Welcome is a dirt cheap option.
You have to
spend
log
£5
in
to get a
every
total
single day.
of 2,700 Primogems and 300 generous crystals, divided over a 30-day period. It sounds great in theory, but there's a clever marketing strategy behind it. The hardest objective MiHoYo has to do with new players is convince them to make their
Spend
first purchase.
some money. Yes, totally. And that's your sub fee for the game. That's how much it costs to play monthly. Because if you're not getting the Welkin, then you're basically just missing out on easy primos and the deal is too good and blah, 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 blah. But once your credit card is in there, once your parents' credit card is in there, then you're going to have just enough primos to pull for this character, and you're going to get really close to 70 pity, and then you're going to start feeling like, oh man, it's about to end, and if I just had $30 more worth of primo gems, I could probably get this character. And then you buy $30 worth of primo gems and you pull Chi-Chi.
Welkin only exists to create the idea that spending money on pulls isn't a bad idea.
I lost Kazuha on my 50-50, and I'm very salty about it still to this day. I also lost Wanderer, and it's frustrating to me. If I had both of those characters, I would
because
still
after
play.
all, you're getting a good return for your money. Welkin also has the added benefit of player retention, because of course,
It makes you
you'll
log
need
in
to
every
log
day.
in every day,
Yeah.
otherwise you're losing Primogems.
And if you're logging in, you might as well do your Adventurers Guild or whatever it's called, that thing. They're 5 things. But nowadays, you might as well just go around and do the chests to get them instead. And then after you do that, I mean, you're already in the areas. There's some quests around. You can do those. Those ones give you primos too. Oh, wait, actually, that's a quest line. So you might as well just go ahead and do that whole thing. Now you're playing through that. But, in order to finish this quest line, I actually have to go finish that quest line, which means I have to sit through more and more dialogue that you can't skip for some reason in 2024 because they want you to stay logged in because they want their player base to be enormous so that people keep playing this game. I hate that this is a game that could have been really cool, and I wanted to like it a lot, and I played it a lot, and Tiff liked it a lot, and we played it together, but it's just so rude to me. It doesn't care about me. It's going to make characters in the next world that they put out, the Firelands, or what, those characters are going to be better than all the ones they got now. They're going to nerf the characters that they have now. They're going to make everything worse, and then you have to get new characters and blah, blah. The cycle just keeps going on and on. And I've got to sit through all these freaking if they had a skip button for the cutscenes, I would play that game again.
this causes Genshin to become...
But the story is the best part. The story is okay. It's meh. It is what it is. I'm an older person now. I don't want to sit through a story that's the bad guys are trying to ruin the time of the good guys, and we have to make everybody care about each other so that we'll stop this fighting and we can all get on the same page. Dude, give me a villain who I want to see taken out because of the horrible stuff they're doing. What is this kid gloves nonsense?
become part of your daily routine, so that when you do finally pull for a character you like and lose, you'll actually feel obligated to buy gems outright, because otherwise you've just wasted a month collecting Primogems for nothing.
Yeah.
This is known as something called the sunk cost fallacy. You've already invested your time and money into the game, so you feel justified buying more Primogems, because otherwise...
And I fight against this so hard, and I suggest that everyone else does the same thing, that if you're playing a game and you feel like, oh, I'm not enjoying this, but I've already put so much time into it, I have to continue on, quit right now. Find something that doesn't make you feel that way. Find something that you're glad to log back into. I'm glad to get on old school RuneScape when the urge strikes me, and grind some levels and complete some objectives and do some of what I need to do and then log back off, because I know that the things that I've gotten from that time playing will still be valuable later on, and I know that I'm building towards something. If I felt this way about Dead by Daylight, I feel this way about Genshin Impact. If the game is taking advantage of you and you feel like you have to keep playing, not that you want to keep playing, quit that game right now.
The character will
You will be
disappear,
glad
and all
that
you
you
got
did.
was some purple weapons. Oh, it's another flute. Fantastic. With each new 5-star character release, this same cycle repeats itself.
Not only, yeah, this is the thing too. Not only do you need to get the character to C6, you also, in the same banner usually, need to spend a whole bunch of money on the weapon banner, because you need to get their best weapon, because it's game-breakingly good, and without that weapon, you're basically not even doing anything.
The more you spend, the easier it is to give into temptation, and it's why it's harder to resist the urge to spend even more, even if you lose the 50-50 chance of getting that character or having someone completely different. But the system alone isn't enough to entice everyone to spend money in the game. No. Content creators are also a very big contributing factor,
free to play, yeah.
especially when you consider the viral nature of gacha pull content. Seeing your favorite creator spend money on gacha pulls can make it seem normal, especially if it's like obnoxious amounts, because your perception of spending money on the game becomes distorted.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy just spent $4,000 getting Venti, so it doesn't really matter if I spend 10.
I've met normal people who aren't content creators, kids who are 18 years old and have been working a job for 2 years, that have spent over $20,000 on this game. Normal people, living with their parents, working a job, all of that money going into Genshin Impact. A game that has been out for less than 3 years.
£10, £30, or even £50. All this does is just create a strong fear of missing out. If you don't get this character before they leave, you'll be left behind while
Yep.
everyone else enjoys the new content.
Yep.
And that can be said about every new character who's broken or will forever change the Genshin meta. And Mihoyo know this because of how they've designed their credit program. Oh, what's that? Please refrain from sharing the content of the
Was that Techie? I think that was
know
Techie.
this because of how they've designed their credit program. Oh, what's
That's Techie.
that? Please refrain from sharing the content of this message with anyone. Wait, there's more? Creators are intentionally given a generous amount of Primogems because, well,
Yeah.
what kind of content do RubeusCubeus want to encourage? Gacha pull content.
Yeah.
It's a win-win scenario where creators get free rolls.
Honkai Star Rail is another game that's famous for this, but at least Honkai Star Rail gives you actual free 5-star characters.
Get the latest characters, and Mihoyo get free advertising. It's not that people are really at fault for making this type of content, it's just how the system is designed to
Yeah.
work. Which brings me to my last reason as to how gambling has become so normalized in this game, and surprisingly, it's the community. If you play Genshin for long enough, you might have heard of something called free-to-play entitlement. It used to be a fun joke, but now it just divides the community to be a them versus us situation.
They feel like that the money they're spending on it is their fee to being in the player base. That this is sort of the cost of playing Genshin. That it has an above average cost of playing it, and it's mind blowing to me that people think that a video game is worth $25,000 of their money. And I know that there's whales out there. I once saw an article or a Reddit post from this whale who played MapleStory that spent $180,000 on MapleStory in 1 year, and it was a cheap game for them compared to some of the other gacha games they had been playing.
So that when people are actually struggling or have worries about developing a gambling addiction, a lot of the responses would be along the lines of, it's your problem, with some even encouraging you to spend more on the game. It's a really toxic cycle which keeps people trapped, because unlike with real gambling, there's no direct support system when you have addiction to buying rolls for virtual women on the internet. Yeah, that sounded weird when I said it too. So then, why did I make this video?
This is the strange thing about video games and gambling, is that not only is it a pipeline into actual gambling, it is just gambling. You are spending money to maybe get a thing, but the problem is that this thing isn't even more money. You are never going to make your money back. You are always just going to spend money to get something in the game, and this game probably won't be around in 30 years. You're just spending thousands and thousands of dollars for right now dopamine.
Really, what I've talked about barely even scratches the surface of how gacha games like Genshin Impact, Honkai Star Rail, Zenless Zone Zero,
And these ones aren't even the worst ones. There are way worse gacha games out there.
eventually rise, make you fall into temptation. And in reality, there's not really any harm in spending money to get a character you like, but you should only spend what you can afford to lose, and never go in with the mindset of you will get this character.
Yeah.
Genshin might be tame compared to other gacha games, but the gacha business
Exactly.
model will always give RubeusCubeus the advantage. aka the house always wins. The goal of this video was to make you aware of these practices so you can enjoy the game responsibly. So the next time you want to spend on a character, you'll be able to make an informed decision for yourself rather than letting external influences drive your decision. For me, the real fun of gacha games is never actually knowing who you're going to get, so that when you do get a 5-star character, you appreciate them a lot more. If you found this video helpful, please let me know in the comments, and I'll see you later.
And people do play these games a lot, almost as a Nuzlocke sort of challenge, and I appreciate that sort of mindset, but the majority of players are going to go in trying to spend as much money as possible because they want the best team that they can have, because they see all of their favorite streamers playing these games that way. And it's dangerous. And I think that it's bad, and I wish that games like this were free to play and actually good instead of having all these predatory practices, because I want to enjoy them. I want to have fun in them. But if you like them, that's fine. Make sure you guys give Bretter's video a like. I want to sub to Bretter's too. Cool channel, man. Cool video. Good job.